Let's talk about the price of bikes. So it's March 2024, and during COVID, bike prices went crazy, which was demand and supply. But COVID's been finished now for a couple of years, and the prices of bikes still seem to be going up. My background, I had my own bike shop for 10 years, and I was a high-end road triathlon shop. Since then, I've been a rep in the bicycle industry, which I currently still am. I understand the bike game somewhat, and I just want to talk about the price of bikes because personally I think bikes probably cost too much. Obviously I have bikes and I ride bikes and I love bikes. At what point will bikes become more affordable, if ever again? I've just gone through a whole heap of bikes here, and I'm going to talk about pricing, and I'm going to talk about the top brands, and then I'm going to talk about bespoke bikes, and then I'm going to talk about options where you actually can still get a decent bike without breaking the bank. I've just selected Shimano Ultegra Di2 12 speed. So that's a pretty common group set, probably at the mid to high end. And all these bikes are carbon fiber frames. So let's have a look at them. Now the first one that I've selected here is a Trek. Now I have a Trek Checkpoint. I love Trek bikes, but they're very expensive. Trek, I hear on the media, are in a bit of trouble. Financially, they're probably gonna drop 40% of their range or something. Is it because their bikes are so expensive people aren't buying them? I don't know. So the first one I'm looking at here is a Madone SLR 7. So it's a generation 7, which I think is the latest. Now it's an Ultegra Di2 12 speed, carbon wheels and all the rest of it. And it's 13 grand. Now these are Australian dollars. As far as if you're watching this somewhere else, you're gonna have to Google what 13 grand Australian dollars is. $13,000 for a push bike. So that's the first one. I just don't think it's worth that. The next one I've selected here is the Specialized Tarmac SL8, which is a new bike. SL8 was released last year, so it's their latest and greatest. Again, it's Ultegra, carbon wheels and all the bits and pieces. And this one is just shy of $12,000. So again, a lot of money for an Ultegra bike, I believe. That's what they cost. So let's keep going. The next one I found is a Cervelo. Now Cervelo, this is the new Soloist. Again, carbon bike, Di2 12 speed Ultegra, carbon wheels. This one's 9,700, 10 grand. Now that's better price than the Trek and the Specialized, but really, where's the value in that? I just don't get it. So the next one, and this one surprises me, let's talk about Canyon. This is the Aeroad, the SLX8. Now this is 9,149 Australian dollars. Now when Canyon was first released, their point of difference was direct to consumer. In other words, you go to their website, they cut out the middleman, you order it, they deliver it to your door. Well, sorry guys, 9 grand is better value? I think not. So let's talk about the better value bikes, and these are still brand new. So the new TCR, so Giant. Now this was just released as a new frame set. And again, it's Ultegra Di2 carbon wheels and everything else the others have got. And this one's $8,200. Now I remember back when a Giant used to be awesome value for money. Now compared to Trek and Specialized, sure, it's better value, but still, $8,200. I just don't understand where the value is. I think prices will have to come down because people won't be able to buy them. Who can afford that? I can't. Next one here is a Merida. Now the Sculptura, which is their lightweight frame, I believe. Again, carbon wheels, Ultegra Di2. This one is $6,500. Now, Merida probably are one of the better value bikes here in Australia. They're great bikes. I used to be a sales rep actually for Merida. In fact, the interesting thing about Merida is the Merida factory, I believe, is 51% owned by Specialized. So don't get too excited by Specialized. It all comes down to marketing. So they come out of the same factory. Interesting also, Giant factory will make Trek bikes. So there's only a couple of factories in probably China that make the world's bikes. 6.5 grand, starting to get better value, but still a lot of money. I think an Ultegra bike, even Di2, should be maximum 5 grand. If you disagree, comment below. So now we're going to the super bikes, right? So I've got a Colnago here, the C68. Now this bike is still Italian made. Well, let me tell you something about the C68. It's a beautiful classic bike, but it's lugged. So it's a carbon lug with a carbon tube, and they bond it, glue it together. So it's actually really old technology. But good on you, Colnago, because a Di2 bike, again with carbon wheels, is $16,500. So they're using what I would consider old technology in making the frame, and people are spending $16,500. So work that out. The next one I've found, and I couldn't find an Australian price for this bike, but it's the Pinarello F Dogma, which is their latest. I only found one in America online, but I've converted it to Australian dollars. So a Pinarello F Ultegra Di2 carbon wheels, if you convert it to Aussie dollars, $22,200. You heard me right, $22,000 for a bike. I mean, come on. You can buy a decent second-hand car for that, I'm sure of it. So, but there's Pinarellos. Every time I go out, there's hundreds of them. So maybe it's just me. Now, that's brand new bike. So let's look at options. Are there options? Of course there is. So I found one here on Marketplace, and it's a 2022 Giant TCR. So it's the older frame set, but it's the Pro Zero, which is their top of the range frame, with Ultegra Di2 carbon wheels, blah, blah, blah. $4,900. So, you know, it's a couple of years old. From the picture, it looks pretty good conditions from what I can see, but $4,900. I mean, that's getting better value, and it's worth it. I think that could be a good bike. Here's an interesting one. I've never heard of this. I just Googled all these. So MMR, never heard of them. It's an Ultegra Di2 bike. Deep section wheels. I don't know if they're carbon or alloy, but $4,775. So a brand new bike, a brand I haven't heard of. It probably works all right. I think for your average punter out there, it's probably fine. $4,775. I mean, I'd ride it. I don't know. I don't care. Looks nice. And the last one, and I went on to AliExpress as you do, and this is a no-name bike, but it's carbon wheels, Ultegra Di2, everything all the others have got, $3,845. Now, is it a gamble to buy that? I don't know, maybe. If I had an extra $4,000 laying around, I would buy it and test it and see if it's any good. But it probably is. I mean, you know, it's Chinese made. Picture looks fine. It's got no brand on it. Put your own brand on it. I don't know. Get a fancy sticker printed up and stick it on it. So there are options for better priced bikes. Tell me what you think about what I've spoken about here. A lot of people will agree and a lot will disagree. So have a comment. And I think they need to come down in price. And remember, if you like our content, I hope you do. If you're still here at the end of the video, you probably do. Shout us a coffee. Link below. Anyway, let's see what happens. Thanks for watching.